Flowers are the showstoppers of botany. They're the delicate but sensuous pinnacle of a plant's beauty. And various people around the world have worked out interesting recipes for using flowers in their food and drink and in beauty treatments, as well as enjoying their decorative and aromatic qualities. A herb in flower is preparing to reproduce. In the center you'll find stamens covered with pollen, or perhaps pistils, or in the case of a flower like the Madonna lily, both together. It's called botanically the perfect flower. To entice the pollinating bees and butterflies, a flower offers color, fragrance, and nectar. And of course we too are the beneficiaries. Most culinary recipes use the petal part of the flower, and these calendula, or English marigold, although they don't have a distinctive flavour, can visually transform any green salad, especially seen glossy with French dressing. I've always had a soft spot in my heart for these orange petals because they were my introduction to edible flowers. You can also macerate the petals in oil. This means soaking them in a scentless cooking oil such as sunflower oil or sweet almond oil for about 2 weeks to yield a very healing substance, and this oil is very useful for skin ailments like rough or chapped or cracked skin. When picking chamomile, again the whole flower is used for teas and hair rinses, and also in borage the whole flower is used, although for borage it's important to make sure you remove the bitter calyx at the back, because that doesn't taste very pleasant, and then you're left with this beautiful blue star. This pretty daisy flower is called pyrethrum, and when it's dried and powdered it makes a useful insecticide. You can dry the flowers yourself and grind them up to make this powder and use it just to sprinkle around plants, and it'll give you some measure of protection, but it's best if it's in solution. Now you might wonder why so many books tell you that pyrethrum is an insecticide, but no one tells you how to use it. And that's because the powder doesn't dissolve in water. It has to be, first of all, dissolved in alcohol. And if that's a little bit tricky, you can buy a prepared mixture ready and then just dilute it as per the instructions. And it's a good idea if it's mixed with a soapy solution, because that helps it stick to the leaves better. And make sure you spray both the tops and the undersides of leaves, because many times these black fly and green fly tuck themselves into the corners. There are herbal flowers for eating in salads, for cleaning our skin, for soothing our nerves, and for making fragrant gifts. And this is one flower that has all those uses. This wonderful, deliciously scented rose is Albertine. And if you want to use one in a recipe, it's very simple. You just pick off a petal and nip the bitter white bit at the base off. And it's quite tasty. There's recipes for roses in soups, meat dishes, jams, jellies, desserts, Turkish delight, and even crystallized as cake decoration. Then there's rose water, which is a wonderful skin tonic, and rose hips, which give us vitamin C. And of course the rose oil extracted from the petals, that most precious of substances used in many expensive perfumes, and in aromatherapy massage is particularly healing for women. Rose petals are also the basic ingredient of potpourri. The classic way to retain the abundance and fragrance of a summer herb garden is to dry the flowers and leaves and make potpourri. The ingredients can be basically classified into 4 categories, and the most important of these is the flowers. And top of the list is the rose. This is the apothecary's rose, and when you want to dry petals, just take them off and lay them out singly so that they don't turn brown, and put them on newsprint or muslin, and they'll dry in about 2 weeks. The second most important flower is lavender, and the reason these 2 flowers are so important is that they both retain their scent once they're dried, and not all fragrant flowers do that. Just hang lavender up in a bunch, and when it's dried, rub the flowers off when you want to use them. Another lovely flower that keeps some scent is the mock orange, Philadelphus, with that wonderful fragrance so reminiscent of high summer. Some of the other flowers that you can use for fragrance are pinks. Try and get the old pinks that have that sweet clove scent. Honeysuckle has some fragrance when it's dried, but it doesn't keep the really intense smell that you get in high summer. You can use these lovely little heartsease violets. They don't have the same scent, but they give a beautiful intense violet to your mixture. Then there's flowers for color, and this is where the blues really come into their own. The most special are the wonderful delphiniums. You can dry those in bunches hanging upside down as well, and then just separate the flowers when you want them. There's also the blue of this viper's bugloss, a wild plant. There's the red petals of the bergamot, a very intense scarlet. It's the leaves that have the scent. The flowers don't have much scent, but you do get this wonderful color. And again, the color of the marigold, the calendula, gives you that rich orange petal that's nice in citrus blends. There's the white daisy of the lawn chamomile. Again, it's the leaf that has the scent, so don't expect the flowers to give you that wonderful apple scent, but you do get that lovely texture. And the second group is the aromatic leaves from the herb garden. This is a range of some of them, and you can see how we lay them out on muslin, and it allows the air to circulate and they dry better. This is the bay leaf, with that lovely nutmeggy smell. This is golden marjoram, and marjoram just gives a nice savory edge, takes away a cloying sweetness if you put it in some mixtures. That's the resinous leaves of rosemary, the clove-scented leaves of the purple basil, the variegated apple mint, sweet myrtle, which has that wonderful orange spicy scent, and the purple variegated sage and gold sage. Most of the leaves and flowers you can get in a concentrated form in essential oils. This is very precious rose oil, lavender, ylang ylang, bergamot, and they can be used to touch up a flagging potpourri. Now the third category of ingredients are the aromatic seeds, spices, wood chippings, and citrus peel. Coriander seeds, which give a lovely warm spicy flavor. It's a good idea if you want to use spices in your potpourri to buy them whole and grind them up yourself instead of pestle and mortar, because it releases that fragrance and it's much stronger than if you buy it already powdered. Then there's also vanilla pods, very unusual and very strongly scented. Cinnamon sticks, which you can either crush up or leave in quite large pieces for a nice bit of texture. These are shavings of sandalwood, and these are mixed wood shavings. There's rosewood, cassia, and cedar in there. All very, very lasting fragrances. And it's quite easy to dry your own citrus peel, lemon or orange or a lime, and just take a zester, scrape off some shavings and dry them on a cloth for a few days. Now the final ingredient in a potpourri mixture is the fixative. These are substances whose heavy molecules evaporate very slowly, and because of that they somehow restrict the movement of the molecules of the other scented items, which retains the scent for longer. There's benzoin, or tonka beans, which are these black creatures, which are very hard and you practically need a hammer to break them up to use. And this is oris root. That's a whole root dried, and that's powder, which is the more familiar form that you buy it. Usually oris root is the preferred fixative because it's very pleasant, sweet violet scent, doesn't interfere with the perfumes that you've already assembled, so it's usually the chosen one. So that's all the ingredients assembled for your potpourri. And then, like the mistress of the still room in the 16th century, you have the leisurely pleasure of blending your ingredients and creating a mixture to suit your mood or the season. This is a mix of English flowers from a cottage garden. It's got roses and lavender, delphiniums, and orange blossom. And when you've mixed it together and you've got the scent that you want, you might find you just want to balance the color scheme a little more. For example, I'd like to see a little more blue, and these are dried delphinium flowers, just to finish that off. Then this mixture is a citrus blend. It's got lemon verbena leaves, a few mint, and the dried citrus peel. And I've also discovered that lemongrass dries very well, which you can get at the supermarket now. Just chop in a little of that. And I think for color, just to add a few more calendula or English marigold flowers, just to give that bright orange color. When you've made your potpourri, there's other things you can do with it as well. You can fill tiny sacks and put them in drawers, in hems of winter coats when you're going to put them into storage, wherever your imagination thinks you'd like a little more fragrance. Making herb pillows, I think, is still one of the nicest things to do. You just fill a muslin inner slip, because then it means it can be taken out to be washed. And I save lace and doilies when I find them in second-hand shops, and I sew the doily on one side and a piece of plain cotton on the other. And they make a wonderful gift for anyone who's ill. And another lovely way to use your flowers is to put them in a tea cozy. Just sew a pocket inside your tea cozy, tuck some lavender or lemon-scented leaves inside, put it on your teapot when you've got your herbal tea brewing, and as the warmth of the teapot permeates the flowers, you get this lovely scent of lavender floating through the house.
Every year it gives a heart a lift as you come over that hill and you see this great sea of purple spread out before you.
Henry Head runs Norfolk Lavender, the last large commercial lavender farm in England.
Well, and then obviously you've got the different sorts of lavender. The pink lavender we don't in fact use for commercial purposes, it's just a garden variety, but it is very popular. The most important thing of all is a light, well-drained soil. The one thing that lavender really dislikes is having its roots surrounded with water. So if your soil at home is clayey and heavy, get some shingle and builder's sand and mix it in the trench so that the plant can really, the water can really drain away from the roots.
To get the maximum perfume, when's the best time to cut the flowers?
When all the flowers are fully open.
Can you show me
yes.
what?
That one is getting on that way. These ones here, where it's gone brown, you see, there, those in fact are over. But the plant is still making some oil. Those ones there are about to come out. That one, those flowers are fully open.
So it's a sort of compromise.
It's a bit of a compromise, but in about 4 or 5 days' time, all of those ones that are now about to come out will be out.
And when you cut the flowers off, is that your form of pruning as well?
Yes, the harvester cuts the lavender down to where the stalk comes out of the bush, about there. Mm-hmm. And that is about as far back as you need to cut the bush each year.
Down to old wood?
Is that, or yes, not quite? Yes, down sort of this year's growth. Now, obviously, when the bush is still growing, it will grow through that vigorously, and so the following year you get a bigger bush. It doesn't stay the same size each year. But after about 7 or 8 years, it reaches its full size, and it won't grow very much bigger than that. in succeeding years.
For us on a domestic level, would it be better if we just cut some flowers and left the major pruning for later on?
Yes, it is very much better for the plant if you can cut the flower and the stalk off anyway by the end of August.
Oh.
Because it gives it the whole of the autumn to recover, and it puts on much more vigorous growth and stops the plant getting woody. And don't be frightened to cut. I mean, a lot of people sort of just cut the heads off and leave those bits of stalk and they go dead. You want to really cut it down to there.
Be vigorous.
Be vigorous.
Be brave.
Be brave. Yes, you won't damage the bush. Well, shall we go off and look over here then?
Yes. We've seen several different varieties you grow. What's this one?
This one is our main field variety. It was a variety that we bred ourselves. It's a heavy oil yielder and particularly suitable for this soil.
It's a beautiful colour.
It is. It's a lovely colour and you get lots of flowers tightly packed.
How much oil would you get from a big bush like this?
Not a lot, really. I mean, it's enough for about 4 or 5 bars of soap, a bottle of lavender water.
Lavender water. I think that's still my favourite because it's so refreshing and it lifts the spirits. If you're collecting lavender flowers, cut the whole flowering stem and dry it in one piece. Then if you want the individual flowers, you can rub them off later when they're dried. It's a lovely coincidence that flowers reach their greatest beauty and have the highest proportion of active ingredients at the same time. That's just when they first fully open. So that's the best time to pick them. Choose unblemished flowers of good shape because distorted petals can mean that there's damage from pests or insecticides or even a virus. The best time to pick them is in sunny, dry weather at midday. And it's a good idea to lay them out individually in a wide, open basket or loose if you can, because then they won't sweat and discolor so quickly. Sonia Beresford Hobbs carries on the tradition of making flower posies or nosegays using traditional herbal materials. These aromatic posies, or tussie-mussies as they were called in Victorian times, are another tradition that's being revived. I recall reading that judges in Tudor times used to take disinfectant posies into court with them so that they wouldn't get jail fever.
I also make them for liverymen in the City of London for their election day.
And besides being disinfectant and aromatic, they could convey a secret message because each flower and leaf was thought to have a special meaning.
Yes, absolutely. This is a bridal one, which one starts with a pretty rose in the centre, which is a new dawn rose for love.
And the idea is that you have a circle of contrasting leaf shapes and colours.
Yes.
And you've got sage for domestic virtue.
Yes.
Pineapple sage.
Lovely, isn't it?
And sweet myrtle, that's love, of course, Venus and all that. And Shakespeare's rosemary for remembrance.
Yes. And variegated ivy for fidelity, which I always make my brides have. Right. Now we have a get well, tussie-mussie.
Ah, lemon verbena. That's a wonderful idea to put lemon verbena, that lovely fresh
Such
scent,
a
into
wonderful clean
something
smell,
for
isn't it? We start off in the centre with a red geranium for comfort. Thyme for courage. Lady's mantle or alchemilla mollis for protection.
And you've got chamomile for energy and adversity.
And fennel for strength.
And then lemon balm for sympathy. What could be a better message for a hospital?
Wonderful. Right.
Now you're going to show us how
Now,
one of these is
Yes,
made.
one for a baby.
Lovely.
So, really, I try and lay things out so it's easy to pick up as you go along. Start with a fairly straight one in the middle. This is a particularly pretty miniature rose. Then I would surround it with 3. In fact, they're variegated mint, which is quite pretty.
And the mint is for virtue.
It is. I hope I haven't put peppermint in. It'd be a bit young for that, wouldn't it? Perhaps I'll use this.
Whenever I try it, I
Thyme.
end up with a cone shape. I find it very difficult to get that nice flat posy look.
It's quite easy, really.
This is marjoram for blushes.
Yes, that's right. It's a rather sweet thought, isn't it, for a baby?
I just think it's a lovely idea for a mother and baby to receive something like this,
Yes.
which again is aromatic as well as so pretty.
Then we could put a row of pink sweet peas in.
Sweet peas for delicate pleasures.
It's a nice thought, isn't it? All rather delicate flowers for this tiny little baby.
I have one of the sandwiches. Would you like a sandwich?
Choose a flower.
Salad.
Edible flowers add color, texture, and sometimes delicate fragrance to a wide range of dishes. A salad with the stunning colors of the flowers of nasturtium, bergamot, and pansy, and calendula and yellow rose petals mixed with tom thumb lettuce. Clove pink tartlets and cream cheese scented with pinks.
I'd love a glass of wine. Robert. A glass of wine. Love.
Try this cherry soup. Oh, that looks lovely.
In front of you.
Cherry and rose petal soup with sour cream. Flower sandwiches with parsley, plus petals of pinks, nasturtium, or rose, each with their own flavor. Quiche with fresh coriander leaf and calendula petals. Elderflower wine. A mixture of cream and cream cheese hearts scented with rose geranium, garnished with red currants and crystallized rose petals. Borage flower ice cubes. One of those cherry soups. Do they saving one? Scones with rose petal jam. Layered date, banana, mincemeat, and rose petal dessert. Turkish delight flavored with rose water, lemon, or lavender.
Put them in the middle. Stick it down there.